I'm Chuck Hickey, and I'm a 7th grade science teacher in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I've been teaching with OpenScience since the pilot phase. I started making videos to support students who are unable to be in class when we returned to school after COVID. My first attempt was fairly straightforward in that I had a colleague hold my phone as I displayed the plants in the hydroponic setup for the matter cycling unit. I next made a video for the sound unit using my phone leaned up against a book. Both of these videos worked for what I needed, but as I began to capture a visual record of these investigations, I started to think of how I could make them better. So I started to use an inexpensive tripod with my phone. This gave me a stable platform to better capture various investigations. I could also use this setup to capture close-ups of things that might be hard for anyone to observe, like the laser beam in the Contact Forces unit investigation, where we drop a ball onto a sponge and a piece of glass. It was during this investigation that I started to use the other video modes, like slow motion, to really make the movement of the laser obvious to the viewer. Still using the phone camera, a colleague and I set out to capture the investigations in the thermal energy unit. Our goal was to provide the viewer with an experience similar to the student in the classroom. During this process, we recognized that there were limitations in our equipment, and we made a promise to ourselves to redo these videos. This year, I began capturing the Contact Forces unit investigations, and at this point, I began to use an iPad on a tripod to record the investigations. The wider format of the screen allowed for a better field of vision when videoing. With some help from a colleague, I shot most of these from above, which I felt gave a better view of the collisions. When my students were observing the butter melting investigation during the thermal energy unit, I noticed that many of them were struggling to see the melting of the butter. Also, many had difficulty seeing from multiple viewpoints. So when I captured this investigation, I used my phone and the iPad from different viewpoints to give better opportunities for observations. I also decided to use the time-lapse mode to make the slow changes more obvious to the viewer. When we began to look at the beans investigation for the matter cycling unit, I used the time-lapse feature again so that the color change of the BTB in bag 2 or bag B was much more obvious.